say don't talk politics at the office. All we do is talk politics here. But companies, including Google, are cracking down on political speech at work. Google's CEO recently sent an email to employees saying sharing ideas with colleagues helps build communities, but having a raging debate over politics does not. A recent poll found just 9% of employees felt uncomfortable talking about politics. 65% were okay with it. 25% were undecided. So what is legally safe and what's off limits? Is there a constitutional right to free speech at work? Tanya Sloans is an ethics lawyer. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So what is speech exactly when we're talking about free speech?
Well, we have to look at the context of where we are. In terms of the First Amendment, there is this freedom of speech, which basically tells us that the government won't attempt to curtail a citizen's speech. But it could be different if we're in private organizations. Speech could be a completely different issue.
So does political speech fall under free speech protections?
It does. Free speech includes expression of political ideas, political views, but it could be limited in certain private organizations.
So if you work for the government in a public capacity, does that mean you're protected and your free speech rights are protected more than, say, you work for a private company?
Well, in the instance of the executive branch of government, there is something called the Hatch Act, where when we talk about speech, generally, yes, government employees are citizens who have a right to free speech, but if they work for the executive branch, they are prohibited from engaging in certain political activities, which would mean limiting their political speech.
Which is why Kellyanne Conway is constantly being called out for her violations of the Hatch Act. So most people work for private companies. So does that mean that they're not protected if their employer says, hey, you need to say this or do this, or you need to take down that poster of this candidate that you support? They have to legally do it?
Well, it's interesting, Soledad. You know, free speech covers all, even those individuals who work for private organizations. But the key is employees often accept certain terms of employment, and some of those terms could include agreeing to limit your speech. Oftentimes, when employees go into a new organization, they will sign policies without fully understanding what they mean.
In 2004, Lynn Gobble, she was fired. She had a Carrie Edwards sticker on her car. Her employer was a Bush fan, and she lost her job.
Well, again, it's about what the employee has agreed to. Remember, when an employee takes a job, they're in that particular position to meet a specific goal for the organization that's going to move the organization toward accomplishing a specific mission. And
yes, but, so here's my pushback on that. I get the sense that if the woman had a Bush sticker on her car and her boss was a Bush fan, there's certainly an implication that it was not that she was just a distraction with a political sticker. It was that the political sticker didn't match her boss's political leanings, and that's what made it uncomfortable, and that's why she was fired.
At the end of the day, it's really about the political environment, and it's about the specific environment of that particular organization. So whether it's one political official or another that is being talked about, it's a matter of how it impacts that place of employment.
As a lawyer, do you just tell people, shut it, don't talk about politics, save your job, save the drama? Just don't. Even though polls, as I mentioned, showed that people are actually overwhelmingly okay with having those political conversations.
I have to admit, especially as a lawyer, I do advise people to minimize their conversations about controversial topics, period. You know, there has to be a lot of reconciliation that takes place in the workplace because people need to be able to work together in a comfortable way and relate to one another on an ongoing basis, regardless of how times change. That's done easiest if you focus less on controversial issues and confrontational issues and focus more on common ground. So I would say that's an absolute best practice, to just minimize.
Lawyers never give you the advice, no, run in and lead with controversy. Never. They never do. Well, Tanya Sloan, so nice to have you. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.